welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we're working on one of the blindsided creations that, well, I kind of actually knew the pattern already. It's a bit chunkier than I think some of the other versions I did, mostly because I think the last time I did it, I may have done it single-stranded versus double. Um, Whatever. It comes out nice. It's a cool bracelet. I liked it ever since I came up with the idea. Um, like the colors that I chose, I went with the blues and greens, and I kept to the original idea where the dark colors are together like it would be if the pattern had been the pattern that came before this, right? Because this is if I put it up, I was going to say this is like similar to the stuff that my clipboard has, but yeah, I put that away already. So yeah, um, it's a little bit more difficult than your average intermediate one. Um, for the main reason is you really kind of have to stay with the pattern itself. So that way you can find where the center is and get everything to bounce exactly when it's supposed to. Um, Other than that, I mean, it's not crazy hard. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that it was crazy hard. Oh, you could see me in there for a second there, right? I was like counting the number of knots, trying to get the two sides started really well. So that was kind of a thing. Um, Especially because like most of this thing kind of works off the idea of how the zigzag uh, in the blue area goes, then everything else falls into place. But getting it started, you didn't. I don't have the two pieces joining together yet, and so there's a bit of a disconnect and trying to make sure that I have the counts and stuff right. But after it gets joined, that all becomes much easier. Um, yeah, just a thing. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, so this thing took couple hours, like a little more than 2 hours to do the whole thing. And that's doing the time based on just the videos, right? So there are pauses and breaks in between. So it really technically it took better part of the whole afternoon. Um, but when you cut out breaks and stopping and getting something to drink or running off to the toilet, it's really just over 2 hours. It was like 2 hours and 25, well, almost two and a half, I guess. I was trying to remember the math. It was like 148 minutes, I think. Something like that. I don't know. I have to do the math to be able to figure out how fast to speed it up so that way I know how to make the video not be too tremendously long. That's the whole why I actually know how many minutes of video there is. That's it. So um yeah, so by the time it gets to this point, it's getting much easier. The two sides are joining, things are happening. Um, because it's all marked out in faded colors of the pattern, it does make this part harder in some ways because of the fact that I like, as I'm looking at the shades of the greens, let's say, I can't tell in the pattern, is this shade one, is it two? It's really rough to tell any of that. uh and again, that's kind of why most of the time I just use rainbows for building up the patterns, and that's why a lot of my patterns are 6 color patterns as opposed to 8, 10, and 12 color patterns. So it's just the ease of being able to see which number that you're on. That said, there were some elements that I could kind of count on, and that being like the lightest colors both come out together at one point, and that was really easy to confirm. Like I'm on track, things are working as they should be. Little things like that kind of were very reassuring, because it it could be real easy to make a mistake, like not putting the zigzag in the exact spot where it's supposed to go could set all the numbers off by just, even just by one, everything would start to change, and that could be a problem. So the inside ones, they're just doing chevrons. That's relatively easy, except for the fact that you don't get to segment very much. Like chevrons don't lend themselves to just hitting up an area first. So that kind of is what it is. But yeah, this is a little bit more advanced. I'm not, like I said, I don't want to like candy coat it. I don't want to accidentally send people to trying something that, is harder than they're prepared to do. Just, you know, if I give you guys good advice, you'll come back, you'll watch more videos. That's my view. That's my hopes. So, yeah. Um, I was a little fearful that I would run out of the strings because the dark blue gets just used so much. It was getting rather short, but it turned out just fine. And I can't for the life of me figure out like why where it's used as much as it was is such a big difference here than it was, say, like in the tube bracelets that I made a little while back. I don't get it. It seems like this is still zigzags. It's still doing a lot. I don't know. I don't. I don't necessarily get the science of some of the little things that are kind of going on in between. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, this is the one. This is the row where the two light colors come in, and that was like, yep, okay, on point. Things are going well. Um, and like there's certain other things you can kind of watch for. You can like the darkest green is obviously easier to spot, so you can kind of look and see if like is that where it's supposed to be. Um, Little things like that can kind of help make sure that you are on point and that things are kind of going as they should. Um, Mind you, the outer pattern, well, the pattern that the blue is doing is something that I've done a lot. So I'm kind of used to the idea that it does the little bump out and then the other color comes straight out and then the next one curves in before it hits the end. So if you're kind of really good with that, that will be a whole lot easier. It just will be. All right, I think we're kind of nearing the halfway point of the video itself, not of the bracelet, but of the video. So I do want to, because this will end really abruptly, I do want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members for making all of this stuff possible. I like making bracelets. I really, enjoy sharing it with you guys. And this is no exception. This is really cool. This is going to go in my shop, and hopefully somebody out there will really enjoy it. It's really big, Now that kind of right compared to like my other ones, like it's kind of huge. But yeah, sorry, ADHD, man. I'm just totally distracted. Thank you guys for making this possible. Thank you for watching, right? Just the fact that you're here watching my video helps me to know that there are people out there that are interested in this kind of thing and keeps me pursuing it. So yeah, thank you very much. So this is where we start to come into the middle. So this dark green comes off of the like one of the last little bump out things, and it makes the X that goes through the center. So now I suddenly have a chance to go all segmenty and just kick out the one side over here, and I totally went for it. And yeah, that definitely felt like it helped make things go faster. Honestly, that was pretty cool. Again, though, even though I'm super familiar with this pattern, I was watching the pattern very closely to make sure that I wasn't making silly, simple mistakes, because it would be really easy to with something like this. Um, so yeah, just just so you know, it is a trick. So yeah, now here's the whole other green side comes down, and yeah, yeah, I was kind of surprised. I was really working way off of the clip, which is typically something I don't do. If you've been around the channel long enough, you know, um, the further you work away from the clip, the more it can move around and it can affect your knots. Um, but that said, I kind of gotten used to it because I try to show you guys more what's going on with the patterns and what's happening. So I don't know. I mean, because it turned out really straight. It's, it's really, I don't know. I guess it's practice. I have a lot of practice. In case you're new to the channel, I've been making bracelets since 87. So yeah, kind of been doing this for a bit. So now, just as I'm basically had gotten used to the pattern up above, I have to get used to the pattern down below. And that is essentially you do the blue area and then you have to bring down the bits of the chevron, right? Bring the chevron down and then the blue area can kick out again. And it's essentially, so it ended on a knot and then you need 4 more because it's 5 that come across and then 3 down, right? So you bring down 4 rows because you already have 1. You bring your 4 more knots over, it changes directions and it comes down for 4 more and keeps doing that till it kind of gets to the end and there's just like 3 left. Uh, so it technically doesn't feel like it's too terrible. Um, but again, I was cautious because sometimes when it feels like it's really nice and easy, it's just a recipe to make a mistake. And nobody likes to take out knots. Let's face it. I'm no different. I do not want to have to pull out a needle and go at it. So there you go. So see, now I'm bringing in the blues. So yeah, it's, again, I'm trying to just share everything that I kind of gathered while making it. You could tell I did a little bit like a segmenting thing. I kind of had brought down the right hand side. Now I brought the last one of the left hand side before finishing up that. Did that save me any time? Not really. Um, you know, could that lead to making a mistake? Maybe. Maybe that might not be advisable. It's just, I don't know. I was trying different ways to try to see if I could just kind of get through it. Um, it really took me until quite late making this thing. So yeah, I'm now recording this the next day because I had to get it all uploaded and then put the videos because there's like, I don't know, 8 of them, 8 different pieces. Put it all together so that way I can like watch it. And I can't just watch it from my editor because if I do, the editor kind of sputters. And then, so if I like try to do a voiceover while it's sputtering, I end up being faster and ahead of the actual video. So I actually have to render it so that way I can watch it and respond to it. So I'm watching it right there. So if my eyes seem like they're not looking at you, it's because I'm trying to watch this and trying to remember all the things that were going on while I was actually making it, which there was a lot. There was a lot going on, like just really basically just concentrating super hard and trying to make sure everything was right. Oh, and again, when the two light ones came out and ended in the spot where they were, I was like, yes, we are, that was, it's the little things that like kind of tip you off. Like, yep, this is going exactly as it's supposed to. This is awesome, you know. So, yeah. So, again, overall, I really do like the bracelet. I don't get where the person who posted the pattern came up with doing 10 colors versus 12. Um, I don't know why they were thinking that, or maybe they just. My guess is because maybe the light ones are similar, or something was similar in the whole thing, and they were trying to uh, basically work out my pattern. That they got confused with it, perhaps. That because that's a real possibility. Um, Whatever it is, I got the real thing out there for you now. You can go check it out. You can make whatever you want with it. Um, I like my symmetry of the bracelet versus the original person who posted and made in the bracelet book. But I mean, to each their own. Maybe they absolutely like theirs more. I don't know. Um, yeah. Could this be longer and stuff? Absolutely. I don't know if you guys remember, but once upon a time, I had considered the pattern to do one of the pillows. If you haven't seen, I made full huge pillows out of stuff. And yeah, I kind of had thought about using this pattern, but I kind of decided I wouldn't because it really takes me so much of like staring at the pattern, making sure I've got it right on, that I was fearful that just doing that on big scale would just be like a nightmare. And I decided I'm just not into that kind of thing. So I don't think we will ever see a pillow of this from me unless I just feel like I absolutely have to be challenged. And that can happen. I mean, look at the big project. Who would have thought that I would make something that's 1.6 meters by zero point 0.6 meters, right? I mean, so we get another pandemic or something. Who knows? Oh, I don't even want to think about it. God, I hated that so much. So, yeah, here's where now the blue diamonds start to come all the way out, which is for me like the greatest. Like, yay, we're hitting the end. You can't tell it, but I have a small clip that's off the side of the board that is allowing me to take the strings that I'm done with and just keep them out of my way. And yeah, if you don't do that, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're sitting on your lap and the strings hang off your legs perfectly, then you don't even need it. But if you're sitting at a desk and you have like an easel and whatever, definitely recommend having the couple extra clips. I also definitely recommend the easel thing because of the fact that um, it really saves my back a lot of unnecessary pain. So just another little heads up there in case you haven't picked up on the fact that that's how I do it. Um, yeah, it'll, even if you're young and you're like, oh, I can contort in all kinds of ways, it will catch up to you. You will notice it over time. So just a thing there. So, all right, guys, here's the end of it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.